survive and advance. Ragin Cajun softball is heading to the quarterfinals of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. Let's recap it here on Ragin Rundown. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into another episode here on Ragin Rundown, the show where you will know all things UL sports. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick, but you can always call me Fitz. And on today's rundown, we will be recapping Louisiana softball's first round victory over Troy to advance in the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. We will talk about how Sage Hoover was the star of the show, and we'll talk about another football commit that the Louisiana Ragin Cajuns program has received for their 2027 class. So let's lead off talking about the softball team. They came into this game as the number 8 seed in the conference tournament, and they would face off with a Troy Trojans program that they had won 2 out of 3 against during the regular season just 1 month ago. And they were able to handle business as they get a shutout victory, winning 5-0 over the Trojans. As we always do, we'll go through some game flow, and then we'll get to talking about Sage Hoover and how big she was on the night. So the Cajuns created offense very early, right there in the bottom of the first, which I've talked about this multiple times on different platforms, including here on this show, that the best way to be able to win games is to create your own energy, whether you're at home or on the road. When you can get things going early on, that is always going to be a recipe for success. So the Cajuns come out there in the bottom of the first inning after Sage Hoover strikes out, grounds out, pop out, and gets out of the inning, 1-2-3 inning. Kennedy Marceau is walked. Mia Lascano lays down a bunt. And then after 2 batters are called out, Brooke Otto flies out, Haley Hart pops out, and then Cecilia Vasquez, who's been put in the designated player role, she goes and doubles down the right field line, and it actually looked more like a triple, but they said that in a fielding error, she was able to advance to third. She drives in Mia Lascano and Kennedy Marceau. It's 2-0. Right after her, Mia Norwood comes up. She pops it up in the air, and it is a single to drive in Vasquez from third base. So it's 3-0 Cajuns right out of the gate. And because you built that early lead, that was able to set the table for ultimately what you were able to do from there. Troy only had 2 hits on the entire night, 1 coming there in the top of the second, but then it would pretty much be quiet for the rest of the night as they only had 2 hits on the night, like I mentioned. And the Cajuns would eventually be able to plate in 2 more runs as a wild pitch by the Troy pitcher would allow Mickey Watts to come in. She would come in and pinch run for Emily Smith after she was walked. Aaron Ardwin would lay down a sacrifice bunt to get her to second. Deja Williams would ground out to first, and that would allow Mickey Watts to get to third. And then a wild pitch eventually got her home. So they were 4-0. And then in the bottom of the 5th, they would also be able to drive in another run when Haley Hart laid down the safety squeeze for Michaela Ferguson to be able to come in and pinch run after Brooke Otto took a nasty slide in, and the ball popped her in the mouth, and she was bleeding from the mouth and everything like that. So Michaela Ferguson would come in to be able to pinch run for her, and Haley Hart would be able to get her in after laying down that bunt. Like I said, from there, it was pretty much completely it. Cajuns take the 5-0 victory, and they advance to the quarterfinal round of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. And it's something that, coming in, that they felt like they had all the confidence in the world. And that Coach Habits has said that she really believed that this team could go on a magical Cinderella run. And that starts with that first game. And now you have to go in now and make an upset, which the next one is against the number 1 seed in ULM, who has, had a very, very great season for themselves, winning the regular season. And now they're going to try to win the conference tournament as well. So they're trying to go and be double champions. The Warhawks were a program that swept you during this season. And so it's not going to be an easy task, but you proved that you were able to to battle with them while you were on the road up there at ULM against them. Again, the advantage that you have is that you are at home playing against this opponent. So that home field advantage that you have leaned into all throughout this season is going to be there, and it's the opportunity for you to be able to potentially knock off the #1 seed and then get to the semifinals, and who knows what can happen from there. So the Cajuns move on to the next round, winning 5-0. But Sage Hoover was absolutely incredible. And, you know, postseason softball is always about how effective can you be out of the circle first. You can win a game 1-0. The Cajuns have done it before in past seasons, right? You can win a game 2-0. You can win a game 3-1. Like there's ways that you can manufacture a run and get it in some kind of way. But being able to shut down the other team's offense because your pitcher is playing lights out, that is something that is absolutely priceless. So her final line would end up being a complete game. So all 7 innings, she only allowed 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 9 strikeouts. She faced 23 total batters and struck out 9 of them on 96 pitches. So that is something that she's done multiple times through the season. We've seen how she's been able to extend. And, you know, you could tell that she was feeling it as she went along throughout the night. And so now, if I'm assuming what will happen is either she will go again tomorrow against ULM, or today, as I'm recording this episode at like 2 a.m., either she'll go again or Bethany Noble will get a start. And then we'll see how far that goes. And then maybe Sage comes out again on Friday night if they're able to advance then. Right now, she is your most elite pitcher coming out of your bullpen. So you're going to continue to lean on her because when she's feeling it, I mean, there's no one better right now. Like, she is just playing at such a high level, and the way that she was able to handle the Troy Trojan offense throughout the night was just something absolutely exceptional. And kudos to her for being able to go out and handle that. You know, Troy was a team that was 32-21 coming into this game. And like I said, you know, you beat them 2 games to 2 out of 3 during the regular season, but there were a lot of close battles in that contest. So this was not going to just be a cakewalk of a game, and you made it look like one. So kudos to the young ladies for getting the job done. They survive in advance, so they're now going to move to the next round, and it's against ULM. First pitch will be at 4:00, so we'll be keeping our eyes on that one as well. I'm going to take a quick timeout, and when I come back, we're going to switch gears, and we're going to talk about football and the recruiting ranks as they have gotten another commitment to their 2027 class, and it's in the trenches. So we'll talk about it when we come back here on Ragin' Rundown. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into another episode of Ragin' Rundown, and we're going to get back into the action in just a second. But before we do, please do me a favor, like this video, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know when we're dropping episodes just like this one. If you're listening, follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review, because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin' Cajun fans just like yourself. Louisiana football has recently added another commitment to their 2027 class, now bringing the total up to 5 guys in this 2027 class. So we've talked about it in multiple episodes that you can go ahead and check out here on the channel of what they've been able to bring in already. The first one was tight end Bryce Coleman from Shadow Creek. So he was the first commitment that you received out of that 2027 class. And after him, as I'm looking here on the website, the next commitment that you would receive would be Avoyles defensive lineman Kobe Smith. After that, you had Faraday wide receiver Rob Taylor. After that, you had Westbrook quarterback Tam Anderson. And now you are adding in yet another commitment on the offensive line this time. His name is Noah Ernst. He is from Angleton High School, class of 2027. He's 6'4", 290 pounds. The kid's a genius. He has a 1380 in his SAT, and a 3.98 GPA. the Cajuns were able to extend an offer to him. I want to say that it was at the beginning of March. Yes, it was his first D1 offer also. So on March the 3rd, the Cajuns extended an offer to him. And then shortly thereafter, 1 month later, on May the 3rd, you get a commitment from him. So you're continuing to add to the offensive line, to continue to add depth to that room, because as we saw last year, a lot of guys got injured and you had to be able to put in some young guys. And so you don't want to have a true freshman always playing in a lot of instances. So you've got to bolster up the room as you continue to build through your program. So you already have a lot of young guys that have gotten some experience, like a Jacoby Isom, that had to come in and play some football early on in his career when you maybe have wanted to redshirted him early on, but he had to come in and he had to step up right away. And as a result of that, he got some playing experience, but that's not typically what you always want to do. But like I said, you add Noah Ernst to the class, and I reached out to him like I always do with any other commit, and I asked him what went into his decision in wanting to join the Cajuns, and he said, honestly, the coaching staff was a big part, but I also like the environment and the culture there as well. And then as a offensive lineman, what he said, the food doesn't hurt there either. He said he loved interacting with Coach Steve Farmer, which is the position coach that he would be having. And he will be having his official visit coming up later in June. So you add another player, and it's very similar to what we talked about in previous episodes, where you identify a player that fits the scheme, that fits what you're trying to build in your culture. One of the type of guys that you want, a guy that's smart, a guy that can play well, that can fit in your scheme. You identify him, you extend an offer to him, you cultivate that relationship, and then ultimately leads to the commitment. So that is what you're going to continue to see, and that's going to help you along the way. I mean, like I said, you've already added Tam Anderson, who's a 3-star recruit. Bryce Coleman is a 3-star recruit. Kobe Smith is a 3-star recruit. Like, you've added in talented players to your signing class already getting up to 5. They've extended countless offers to other players as well. So I anticipate as the summer months get closer and closer, we could potentially see more guys start to commit as we inch closer to that December signing period. Again, as I've said, every time once a kid commits, these are still kids. They're in their teenage years. And as much as the word commitment means a lot, things can change, and they are entitled to change their minds. The important thing is that UL continues to build those relationships, and that they really lean into understanding what these kids want, what they're trying to be a part of with this program. And as long as they're able to continue to do that, the sky is the limit to be able to hold the rope and keep these guys committed to your program and eventually signed to your program, and then getting them on campus so you can start to implement them in your program, develop them, and then turn them into stars one day for your team. So kudos to Noah for making his commitment, and we will be keeping our eyes to see what other guys will announce their decision as well. That's going to wrap up yet another episode here on Ragin Rundown. If you made it to this point in the video, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. Do me a favor, like this video, share it, and leave a comment down below. But most importantly, make sure you subscribe to the channel, because that's going to help us get in front of more Ragin Cajun fans just like yourself. If you're listening, follow the podcast feed, rate the show, and leave us a review. And like always, thank you guys for always tuning in. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time.